What's up with West Virginia? Right? Just like Seinfeld, this is a show about nothing. We're going to talk about what's up with West Virginia. Why can't they get their footing? What's going on? So stay tuned. Stick around. We're going to have a fun show tonight. So we'll see you in a minute or two.
Girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I like the girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done.
So, guys, got a lot of questions. Let me start off with how frustrated I am. And I'm not frustrated with what Neil Brown said, if you take it in context. But I didn't take it in context. It pissed me off so bad, guys. I'm going to channel my inner golden blue dude because he would be ranting and raving. Because listen to me, apathetic. It made him seem apathetic. And if you don't know what Neil Brown said, he basically said, hey, guys, did you have fun tailgating? Did you like the lights? Did you like the fireworks? What about the uniforms? Everything's great. Hey, you didn't win, but you had fun. That's like going on a vacation to Mexico and you having to pay extra because you didn't crap your pants because you got sick. Doesn't make any damn sense. It doesn't make any sense. So Joey said, hey, he's going to join me in 10 to 15 minutes. Joey, I'm going to go on a rant for 10 to 15 minutes, so that's perfect timing. I even waited a day or two to think to myself, are you really that upset about this? And yeah, I am. First of all, if they wouldn't have played so well last week, you wouldn't have that little glimmer of hope. That little sprinkling of hope when I went down to that game, didn't get back till 2 a.m, went down to that game, and I have to say, yes, the LED lights were fantastic. It looked like a freaking rock concert. I get goosebumps talking about it. And if you're bringing someone who has never been to a Mountaineer game at night, it's 3 times, 4 times, 5 times better than a day game. It was amazing. The lights hit different sections. You can watch the videos, guys. The lights hit different sections, but the videos do not do it justice because the whole stadium goes black and then the lights just hit and go over like it's like you're in Vegas. The drones, guys. Sorry, Mountaineer band fans. We should get rid of the band and just have a drone show. Yeah, that's my hot take. Yeah, I like the marching band, but it was interrupting my drone show. For 2 minutes, the band was a distraction to this marvelous drone show that made a flying WV. It also made a cheerleader, and it made the state of West Virginia, and people were oohing and ahhing. I was amazed. They have torches in the end zone that shoot like a propane torch. Flames go 4 to 6 feet in the air. The scoreboards are fantastic. Everyone has their phone out and the lights are lit up and it looks like a rock concert. And yes, I'm going next week. Now, let's get to the product on the field. A+ for lights, A+ for sound, A+ for video production, A+ for pyro, for making shit blow up. The product on the field when they played at Oklahoma State in Stillwater was an A+. When they played at home, that first drive was an A+. The rest was a D-. Pat McAfee said, and he hit the nail on the head, but he was a little too nice to old Coach Brown. He hit the nail on the head, Pat Mac. He said, the product is here for the fan experience. The fan base is here. You have the fans. You have the butts in the seats. You have people paying, like me, to buy tickets, to buy extra tickets so friends can go. But what you don't have is quality wins. We're going to talk in a little bit about Nico and Gigi. And I have to go back in the time machine, make a little connection, but we're going to talk about that. But going back in the time machine, think back to the games when West Virginia upset Miami in '93. When West Virginia beat number 3 Virginia Tech on a Thursday night. When West Virginia came back against Louisville. When Adam Bernardic, there's a name from the past, got hurt. And guess who came in? Yeah. People are still rocking his jersey, even though it's 2 sizes too small. Yeah, Pat White, the other Pat. So let me take a breath here. Guys, how can you not be disappointed when last week, not last Saturday, the week before, when they were on the road in Stillwater, they looked fantastic. All 8 of the cylinders were pumping. They looked like a machine. First drive, they looked like a machine. Then they missed a field goal. And the wheels went off. So let's talk about these losses against top 25 opponents. 16 times in 19 opportunities for old Coach Brown at the helm. They've had a chance. Okay. 16 times they've lost. Okay. Now, they weren't aggressive against Pitt into 2022, and then in the final 4 minutes in 2024, I mean, they choked. What, 3-4 weeks ago when they played Pitt. Or in 2023, guys, it was 4th and 1, and they jumped off sides against TCU. Those are ones that stick out. Oh, wait, Garrett Green. Let's get on his case a little bit. Okay, guy, he's been playing ball long enough. We can give him some heat. Okay, he's almost a grown-ass man. I'm gonna treat him like one. Last year, if you lost the game because of missed throw, missed assignment, I can handle that. But you took your helmet off and gave Dana Holgorsen an opportunity to win, and he did. Last year, it should have been 10 wins. Okay? This year, your passing rating, 55% is not going to get it done, guys. So that brings me into old Nico. A lot of folks are calling for a little bit of a change. So they want number 8 in instead of number 6. So Gigi had, guys, 2 interceptions and only came up with 56% of his passes hit it. He's just not slinging that rock. I mean, yeah, he made some plays with his legs, and he looks good when he makes plays with his legs. But you turn the ball over twice. That negates anything you do that's fantastic with those legs. Even if this year is not what the Mountaineers expect, I think they should use Nico. At least for a couple series. Am I crazy, chat? Let's go to the chat and see if I'm batshit crazy. Okay. Chief Fan says, I hope they fire Neil Brown during our next bye week. Well, Chief Fan, I'm not quite there. But end of the season, I think they should be looking. Unless they have someone lined up. I just saw an interview with Kirk Signetti. Okay. His dad was the offensive coordinator and then became the head coach of the Mountaineers. Kurt, I believe, went to WVU. Kurt also was the head coach when I lived in Indiana, PA. Or my parents still live in Indiana, PA. My dad is an alumni and played lettered in baseball and basketball at IUP in the 60s. So I have ties to Indiana University of Pennsylvania. So after Kurt Signetti left, working for Saban, went to IUP and took over at the helm and was very successful there. And now he's killing it at the other Indiana, the big Indiana, the Hoosiers. Who would have thought that those guys would be undefeated? So Garrett Green mom was being threatened by her fans. Yeah, that's not cool. That's not cool. Don't be. Why would you? Well, was her mom running her mouth? I think that's what was happening too. So got to get both sides of the story. Tosh Miller, I think Green is a better scrambler. Nico's possibly a better passer. Yeah, I mean, guys, even with high school ball, I look at my kids' team. They don't have an offensive line. They have a pretty good quarterback, but he's a pocket passer. In that situation, you want to put in maybe a more mobile quarterback. However, the Mountaineers have a killer offensive line. They have an 84 or 84.9% or rating. I don't know what they call it. The rating for their their rush blocking when they're running the ball, run blocking. Then they have an 85 for the pass blocking. I look up stats. I don't always know what they mean, but that's it's the highest freaking number there is right now in college football. So that tells me that they have one of the best offensive lines. So they're getting pushes. They run the ball pretty damn well against 3 ranked teams they lost to. Let's talk about that. Are the ranked teams is Pitt really a top 20 team? Is Iowa State a top 10 team? And Penn State is number 3. Yeah, Matt. I'm not talking about stats. He's the highest rated offensive player on the team, but he threw 2 interceptions. You could be the best player on the basketball team if you turn the ball over. And I'm not a journalist. I'm here just telling you what I think. I'm throwing out spitballs. Is it time for a change? You tell me, Matt. Nico's going to be here next year. Garrett Green isn't. Get him some reps. Let him see the field. Never said Nico was better. I said it might be time for a change. So, what do you do? If you're Neil Brown, what do you do? Because the team was anemic. Anemic in the second half. They didn't move the ball. Defense didn't look that great. What do you do? On a brighter note, West Virginia's Cole Rush was tabbed the best threads in college football. Right? Uniswag tweeted out that the uniform of the week was the Mountaineers in the Cole Rush. And guys, when that silver stripes start getting a little bit of the reflective, paint peeled off, I thought it looked pretty mean. It looked pretty good under those lights. Not a big fan of a lot of the black t-shirts with the gray West Virginia stuff. If it was all black, I might dig it more. I like the all black. But that's a lighter note. So Silas says the drone show was lame. Silas, I liked it, man. I thought it was good. The people who sat behind me from Ames, Iowa, and they're like, this is amazing. I thought it was fun. I think they need to have music to it, and the band should not be performing when the drone show's going on. Wonder how much that costs, though. But Silas, man, it's not something you're going to do every game. But it's kind of creepy, though, that they can get those to do that, right? You see what's happening with Russia, and they have those drones. Just a little bit creepy. So here comes. Now, Silas is saying fire Brown. Let's hear what the bestest buddy of the podcast, the Mountaineer extraordinaire, Joey Foster, has to say. Joey, why don't you pop on here? There he is.
Hey. I'm on my phone. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. So, Joey, first of all, I want to ask you, do you think Nico, we need to see a little bit of Nico? I'm not saying Garrett's horrible, but he threw 2 interceptions.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people talking about Nico. Maybe he should get the start and see if he can get this team riled up. And hey, sometimes that happens, right? I mean, we've seen that in the past where we've had a good quarterback and we've all felt confident with him, but for some reason, just didn't have what it took to get down the field, get in the end zone, win games. And then they switch off to the backup, and we end up winning, 5 of the next 6 games or something. We've all seen that happen, and and I think that could be a good possibility. Nico is such a good quarterback, but Garrett's just so experienced. Now Nico has a little bit of experience now under his belt, but nothing like Garrett has. And there's nothing that can substitute for that experience. So would Nico have thrown? All right, so I look at it this way: Garrett threw 2 interceptions, but would Nico have thrown 4? I mean, we don't know. So,
No, you
that
don't
experience.
know. And here's the thing, he's made a lot of big plays with his legs, and he's a competitor, and I think he's a great athlete. And Matt says, once again, I'm an idiot. You lost all credibility, yada, yada. And he also says receivers didn't break free. I'll show you that real quick and go back to Justin's. But, yeah, you know what? Our receivers are not winning a lot of the one-on-one battles. So I'm not even getting down. I mean, Iowa State had those 2 receivers, Higgins and the other cat, are fantastic. And they are, I mean, I think the game before West Virginia had 318 yards combined. And I didn't even look at the stats because I was frustrated. But I know they were killing it against the Mountaineers. And then they were just monstrously big. And they won the one-on-one battles. And they also played some good zone read where they went in the flat there, was under the coverage, made some big plays right on the line right before halftime. You got them a late first down. But let me talk about Justin. So Joey, I went and saw Justin and Jake, and I brought them pepperoni rolls, and they had a blast. And I told them exactly what would happen, and that's what happened. I was off a little bit on my prediction where I said they would be number 8. I think they're number 9. They're number 9 after this win.
I was glad to see Iowa State move up in the rankings, and everybody's talking about them now, which they weren't before the game. Now, and we talked about that last week, you and I and Justin on the show. We were all talking about that. That this would be a game that could put Iowa State up there in the conversation, with everybody else in the top 10. And now they made it. They're there. I think Iowa State is without a doubt the best team in the Big 12. What I seen from Iowa State was they may be just as good, if not even better than Penn State. To be all honest.
I would think so. I think their quarterback isn't nearly as athletic as Garrett Green. Was a much lower rated prospect out of school, and I think Brown did the right thing by picking the guys he has. Nico and I think Garrett are better quarterbacks, but he just was very efficient and he has better. I think he has 2 really good receivers, really big bodied receivers. And he just threaded the needle, and Beck took care of business. Give him credit where credit's due. But
now I will agree with your. I will agree with the person in the chat earlier, and I'm sorry, I'm on my phone, so I can't really see the chat. But you brought it up for a second where he was talking about, you're an idiot that was the receivers didn't get separation. Mm-hmm. I agree with him, not that you're an idiot, but that the receivers didn't get separation. They just didn't. The receivers. No. Our receivers haven't gotten separation all year long.
They haven't helped Garrett out at all.
It's the coach. It's got to be coaching that they're not getting separation there.
They're not winning the one-on-one battles. Nope.
Right. There's plenty of speed, and the thing about it is when you're playing defense, you have no idea what the offense is going to do. When you're on offense, you know what's going to happen, so you should be able to beat a one-on-one, a man-to-man thing. You should be able to beat that at the very least. To get a few yards anyway, or 10, 12 yards on passes. Now, Garrett, on the other hand, has got to get the ball to him and quit overthrowing them. There was times that he just overthrew it. I mean, he does that. He's done that all year long.
He overthrows a lot. Yeah.
We've talked about that he is not Geno Smith. They need to quit that bullshit of using him like Geno Smith and actually use him for the runner he is. And the short passing, that's put him scrambling behind the line and throwing a short 5-6 yard pass, and the receiver breaks it out. That's where you've got to use Garrett Green. Now, I think if Nico was in the game, I would feel more confident with downfield passes. I don't know about you or anybody
I
else.
would too. I would too, and I think it would help the run game. I just think this, here's the thing, and I'm going to go to what Justin said. He said, "Would your opinion change if Garrett beats Kansas State?" I would start Garrett Green at the home game. If things are jiving and things are looking good like they did against Oklahoma State, leave him in. I would give Nico a series.
Now,
Because
I will say this though, I don't think Kansas State's defense is near as good as Iowa State's. Iowa State's defense is really,
I don't
really
think
good.
so either.
And so I think that we will score more points, and if our defense can step up and get a few stops, we'll do better. Now, look, I'll be honest with you, our defense it fell apart at times, but for the most part, they've done pretty good this past week. Iowa State's one of them teams that could throw 40 on a lot of teams. 40, 45 points on a lot of teams in a split second. And they didn't really get started until late in the second half to really throw all those points up, and they shut us down. And hats off to Iowa State. That's what good teams do, and Iowa State is a good team. So, and we've said that since before the season started. We've talked about that all year long. Iowa State's the best team in the Big 12, which we talked about. They were the dark horse, and they were my number one dark horse. I think everybody had Utah picked, and then everybody had Arizona and Oklahoma State, all picked up there. Nobody was talking Iowa State except for a few people, and you and I were two of them that were.
I didn't. I had them in the top 4, maybe top 5 at times, depending on what week you talked to us. But I definitely had them the top of the second tier, or the bottom of the first tier. I didn't buy into the Arizona nonsense, and you didn't either. That was a big question mark. But if anybody wants to come in the show and state their case on why Neil Brown needs to go or stay, I got time for you. So.
And one thing I will say, there's another surprise team. There's 2 more surprise teams in B12, BYU and Arizona State.
Yeah.
Arizona State's looking like a pretty decent team. BYU is a fantastic team as well. I can't wait to see an Iowa State BYU matchup. I just think it's going to be such a good game. I'm really excited to see it. I don't even know. I guess they're playing regular season. I haven't even looked. I believe I remember seeing that they're playing regular season, but if not, I don't see I see them 2 teams playing for the Big 12 championship. To be honest with you, I don't see anybody else that's on Iowa State's schedule for a while that's going to be able to beat them. Now, could they slip up and lose a game? Sure. I mean, any team can. Could BYU do it? Absolutely. But the way the 2 teams look right now, BYU and Iowa State are in complete control. And as long as they stay focused, I don't believe anybody in the Big 12 can beat either one of those teams right now. So I'm looking forward to a matchup between Iowa State and BYU. And look, I don't think West Virginia is out of the top 5 just because we lost a game to Iowa State. It was a good game for most of the game. We did hold our own against them, and I think they're legitimately a top 10, maybe even a top 5 team this year. I really believe they are legitimately that. Now,
I think
look, the wheels could actually fall off for Iowa State this week. I don't see that happening, but it just happens sometimes. But at the same time, right now, the way they're looking, there's nobody in the Big 12 better than Iowa State. Not in my opinion.
No, it's head and shoulders them, and then the rest of us just kind of like fighting for scraps. But like West Virginia fan 13 said, that first drive was just like, I thought West Virginia was gonna dominate. They just marched down the field, perfectly scripted, and then all of a sudden, after that missed field, you had that no catch by Gallagher, and then it became a 4th down where West Virginia attempted a field goal and missed. So, I would really like to see a little bit more, but, Matthew Zervos has a good point here. Penn State, there's 2 really bad snaps. I saw a bad snap one in Stillwater, I think, and then two, that caused Green to kind of like he was going to hand it off. He had to adjust on the fly and run with the ball, and I think he got like 3 yards. But that was rough. And then he says, "How about the receivers? Average at best. They're not beating the one. They're not winning their. They're not getting separation. That's for sure. And they're."
Now, one thing that Matthew is saying also, he says losing our defensive coordinator 3 years ago is the biggest reason we are losing. Okay, I agree with you that losing our defensive coordinator a few years ago because of something that was said, and things. I agree that hurt the team, but here's the problem. All this is on Neil Brown. All Neil Brown needed to do was say, okay, I need to hire a defensive coordinator instead of hiring my friend, right? And look, Jordan Leslie, let's face it, he's not doing too bad of a job. He's never coached a secondary in his life. He's never been a secondaries coach. And so therefore he's doing a pretty good job because our defensive line's pretty stout. Our linebackers are looking pretty good. It's our secondary that's falling apart, and that's got to fall on the secondary coach. But that also falls on Jordan Leslie, and then falls ultimately on Neil Brown. So I'm wondering, Neil Brown, without a doubt, is back on the hot seat. If he loses this week, there's no doubt at the end of the year, I think we move on from him. If they can beat Kansas State, if we can beat Kansas State and then go on and have a decent season, a good season, and win 8 games, let's just say we can win 8. All right, I think maybe they keep him. But if we don't win but 6, 7 games in this year in the regular season, I think Neil Brown's done.
WVU fan 13. Gigi had 3 or 4 plays where he could have ran for a first down. This goes to when Garrett Green is good, he's fantastic. But I think when someone gets in his ear, and you've said this too, Joey, I think he overthinks it, and he doesn't go with his instinctual reaction, and that would be to run. Now, and that's exact opposite of what they tell these guys in the pros to do. But it makes, it's what made Pat White great. It's what made Geno great. Now, Geno had a hell of an arm too. But, he should have just went for the first down and not, thrown the ball. But Matt says, receiver drop pass cost a touchdown, went on to miss an easy kick. Yeah, absolutely. So that was Gallagher.
The thing about this was, and this is something that I look at, is this was a complete team loss. This was not one.
It was absolutely demoralizing because of how good they did the week before.
Right. This was a complete team loss because not only did our offense struggle, our defense struggled, our special teams struggled. Our kickers struggled. This was a complete team loss. There's nobody that could just point the finger and say it's Garrett Green's fault. It's Rodney Gallagher's fault. It's C.J. Donaldson's fault. It's Josiah Trotter's fault. Nobody can do that this week. This was a complete team loss, and it wasn't that they played bad. It's just that Iowa State is just that daggone good. I really believe that. Now, could we have played better? Absolutely. Absolutely, we could have played better. But it was a complete team loss. And I would rather see a complete team loss than, somebody than maybe just losing on defense and our offense looked fantastic. Or losing on offense and our defense looked fantastic. I'd rather see a complete loss as a team where we played pretty sound, good football, and we did that whole game. We didn't have a lot of penalties. Yeah. The fundamentals were there. We had pretty good blocking up front. We were pushing them around when our offense was on the field. We did push our defensive line around a little bit. Problem was we kept dropping Garrett Green back in the pocket to throw these damn deep passes. And if we would just stuck to the damn ground game, we would have been fine, I believe. I still think we'd have lost the game, but if we would have just stuck to the ground game, it'd have been a hell of a lot closer and been a lot better game at the end.
Yeah, West Virginia fan 13 sat right behind the West Virginia bench, and he thinks that Neil Brown has definitely lost the team. I think it's a matter of when West Virginia moves on, not the if. I think it's going to be next year. In 2 years, you're going to have a new ball coach. Nothing.
Yeah,
You know,
I think we might even have a new ball coach next year. I really do.
I hope
And
so.
I hate that. I really do like Neil Brown. I
Me
think he's
too.
such a great guy. But if you can only coach Sunday through Friday and on Saturday you fall apart, well, that's the day it matters. So you have to, you've got to coach 7 days a week.
Yeah, I'm going to bring up our schedule here, and we're going
And
to walk
Stephen,
through.
yes, I do. I really do think the B12 can win a playoff game. Even if
Whoops.
you look at Iowa State or BYU, either one, I really believe that they could beat a lot of the teams that are ranked 6 through 12 without a doubt. So, yeah.
Yeah, going back with what some of the folks are saying in the comments, there's absolutely no way this schedule in the back end is as easy as what we thought it would be. Okay.
No.
Cincinnati is playing ball. You're playing at Cincinnati. That's not a give me. Arizona is dangerous. UCF is, you don't know who's going to show up. They're polar, like they're bipolar, like the Mountaineers. And then Texas Tech's playing decent ball, and you're playing in Lubbock. So
right. And we
you
don't
could
have a lot of luck in Lubbock. We don't have a lot of luck against Texas Tech, period.
West Virginia could win 2 games to finish out the year, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, I know the way the team looks right now, it doesn't. I'll be honest with you. I just don't feel like we look like a Power Four program right now.
No, we did last week, and this week we are against us.
Yeah.
Against Okie State, absolutely. They and that's, I think, the thing, Joey, that upsets me the most is the fact that they looked like they were the next coming of a great team. Like they just got their stride. The mojo's coming, because if you remember when they had Adam Bernardic and it was against Louisville, and Bernardic got hurt. They put in Pat White. They had the same players, but something happened. Something happened where that team just got energized. And I know Matthew is sitting there saying I'm an idiot, but I think back to that game, that spark, by having that fresh set of legs come in, that it just can change the whole dynamic of the team. And hopefully Garrett is that guy, and the coaches know what's up. But watching that game that from high school, and I know it was high school, where Nico willed that team to win, and they were down 3 touchdowns.
Right, and just less than 5 minutes to go in the fourth.
And I go back to Dale. Dale knows so.
Yeah. And Dale always said Garrett Green is just not a Power 4 quarterback or Power 5. Then it was Power 5. He said, he told me all the time. He argued with me. Dale Wolfley argued with me and said, Garrett Green's not a Power 5 quarterback. And I said, I think he is. I think he's a guy that can get this done. Now it started out looking like I was right. As the more we go on, it looks like he was right. Now I'm not saying nothing bad about Garrett Green. Look, I think he's a great quarterback. But there's great quarterbacks at Tulane, and there's great quarterbacks at Marshall and stuff like that too. So, it doesn't mean they're Power 5 quarterbacks, right?
That's true.
So I mean, it's not that Garrett Green's a bad quarterback. It's just, is he a Power 5 or Power 4 quarterback now? Because it's a little on the short size. He has a hard time seeing over the line, and they're dropping him back here in the passer. Now he's dropping back as a passer, and he's 5 foot whatever, and he's got offensive linemen that are 6'4" and 6'6", and he can't see over top of them guys and see an open man coming across right there at the line of scrimmage that's wide open down the field. He could toss the ball to him. He's
probably about my size. He's like 5'11" 3/4, and with
and Nico is what? Nico's 6'2", isn't he?
He's every bit of 6'2", 6'3". He's a good bit bigger. I want to ask Joey. Stephen has a good question. So I think Iowa State and BYU. Let's just go with those two.
Yeah, I had
Those
already
two.
answered him. That's what I said. Iowa State and BYU could win. 6 through 12. I think Iowa State and BYU could beat any of them. And
I agree.
even some of them, it wouldn't even be that close of a game, really. I think Iowa State is just that good. And I'm pretty sure BYU is too. The thing about BYU is people overlook BYU because it's BYU for one, but they've got these big boys. There's some big guys there, and these are full grown men too. They're 24, 25 years old. They're just coming back off mission, and guess what? They're juniors. you know, so it's like, wow,
Yeah.
And yeah, they're a little bit slower than an 18 or 19-year old you might have on your team. But if they get their hands on you, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah, they got grown man strength, so that's
Right.
definitely for sure.
So I
Yeah,
I, I really look forward to seeing what BYU can do. I don't think they are going to finish out this season undefeated by any means. I really don't think BYU will, but I do think Iowa State has the best opportunity to finish out undefeated of all the teams in the Big 12. I really believe Iowa State has the opportunity to go 12-0 regular season, 13-0, or I'm talking in the Big 12, but they can go undefeated in the Big 12 and then win the Big 12 championship. I really believe Iowa State's that team that can do that, and um, BYU, I believe, may lose a game. So, uh, you know, but who knows? I really look forward to watching Iowa State the rest of this season. They
I am too. I'll tell you what,
they they looked really good. They excited me.
the fans were very similar to our fan base. They're very nice. Talked to a lot of them. They sat behind us. Went to the tailgate with Jake and Justin. So I'm hoping they do well. But
I'm
let's
gonna
talk
say this:
about.
this Iowa State team impressed me more than any Oklahoma team that we've seen since being coming into Big 12. In all honesty, this Iowa State team impressed me more. This Iowa State impressed me more than that TCU team in 2021 that went and beat Michigan.
Yeah,
Uh, this Iowa State team looks really good, and
yeah. Those receivers are legit. I mean, they get space. They're physical. They're a good head bigger than anybody we had covering them. They were monstrous to get down. I mean, my God. On paper, they looked bad, and in person, they looked even worse. So I think West Virginia did a fairly good job until the second half, and then they just shit the bed. So
listen, I got to get off here. I wanted to come on with you for a minute, say hi, but I do want to say one thing before I go. Neil Brown's press conference. Yes, I agree with everybody in the country. He's a friggin' idiot. Yeah, I'm sure everybody had a good time up there, but it doesn't matter how good of a time you have when you leave that ball field and you're leaving with a loss, and a loss like that bad. When you've lost a game like that bad, and you've been up there, and yeah, you've seen a great light show and all their new technology they've got going on, and you're all fired up and excited. But then you realize, all right, I'm fired up and excited, but what the hell am I fired up and excited for? Because we still good enough to beat Marshall or something? I don't care if we can beat Marshall. I want to beat the big teams in the Big 12. I want to win the Big 12 championship. And being as good as Marshall is or better is not winning the Big 12 championship. So we have to get better there and everything. But I got to get off here, Shane. But thank you for letting me come on for a little bit. And I will talk to you guys later. All right, man?
Joey, take care. Thanks again, brother. So with that being said, guys, once again, I'm not a journalist. I have a 9 to 5 job. Okay, I don't dig into the numbers too much. I go to the games and I give you a hot take. Sometimes they're wrong, sometimes they're right. I called it last week and I called it 3 weeks ago. So even a broken clock's right. You know that saying. But it's frustrating. It's frustrating because they look so damn good against Oklahoma State. So good. Now, they only have one loss in conference, guys. It's not all doom and gloom, okay? You could have the team that showed up 2 weeks ago show up for that night game in Morgantown against Kansas State. Could happen. You could have the great result. West Virginia rolling up the Wildcats on Fox 7:30. I'm going to be there. I know you guys are going to be watching. If you're listening to me rant and rave, I know you're going to watch the damn game. So let's talk about that real quick. Yeah, can't fire. You owe too much money, guys. This is monopoly money. Either pay now or pay later. Because HR picking stuff. There's a value to the brand. Okay. And that Flying WV, circa 2009, 2010, was probably at its peak. Maybe 2007. Okay. If West Virginia is in the same conversation as Rutgers and Maryland for not being ranked in the top 25, gonna lose out. What is it? 9 million? 9 million? That's what the payout is. $100 billion. Yeah, right. $100 billion. No, guys, it's just, what's it worth to the university? What's it worth to you as a fan? I just got my quote for season basketball tickets. Off topic, but it's relevant. Okay. Season football tickets for two grand, you get pretty good seats. $2,500, you get 4 tickets, decent seats. Okay. To get lower level season tickets for basketball, 4 tickets, $1,500 per ticket minimum donation, and then it's like $500 per ticket. So you're talking 10 grand. Now there's more games, but the games are shorter. It's the value equation. What are you willing to pay? I always like to look on Thursdays before we do our show on SeatGeek and see how much games are going for in the Big 12. That I know then how apathetic or what the fan base is. $26, $31. Check it out. It's interesting. You'll definitely but Russell says, I'm only in it for the drone show. Yeah. That should be a t-shirt with Neil Brown's head. I'm only in it for the drone show. Or when's the drone show? It was entertaining. It's not something if you had it every time, you just kind of like, oh, that's the drones. But they have fireworks, they have pyro, they have the fire. The product is fantastic. But the play on the field isn't fantastic. I wouldn't be saying this if it was 31-32, like the Ohio State-Oregon game. Even if West Virginia lost, I would probably still be bitching, but it'd be competitive. $6 million, but you also have to pay for the new coaching staff. Absolutely. Absolutely. But guys, I'm sure they can come up with $9 million. So you keep him another year and it drops to maybe 6. I don't know. He has a pretty good recruiting class coming in. But it doesn't matter how good the players are if you can't coach them. Going back to the earlier comment, that first drive was perfect. 3 yards here, 4 yards there, 6 yards, 2 yards. Just boom, 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 boom down the field. Yeah, the men's team. So yeah, I might just do a mini pack. A mini pack, get 3 games for like $400. I can do that. I live 2 hours from. It took me like an hour and 45 minutes to get. I live about an hour north of Pittsburgh or 45 minutes north of Pittsburgh, right off of 79. So it makes it nice. But okay, what's it say? What are you guys saying here? Women's team, Iowa State, Saturday and Sunday. Yeah. Yeah, I like this time of year because you can roll in for a football weekend and catch a basketball game. At least that's the way it was, 10 years ago. 10 years ago, Justin and Jake were on our show. They have the Iowa State show. They drove from Iowa. I used to drive from Missouri. My buddy used to drive from Oklahoma and pick me up. It'd be 7 hours for him to get to Missouri, and then it'd be 14 hours to get to Morgantown. So I used to put the miles in. Heck, I flew in from Korea to go to a Virginia Tech game. So HR Pick and Stuff's giving us some coaches that he thinks are sexy picks. DC Tosh Lupoy, I can't say the name right. DC Pete. Boy, you pick all these names. They're hard to enunciate. I'll let everybody just read. Del McGee, running back coach. They could all turn a program around. I'll have to look those guys up, HR. Yeah, guys. I think what was it? Matthew was saying this. They try to run him on that 3-hole, boom, or the 4-hole. Up. Guys, it's ugly, and the same result over and over. Yeah, he's in Virginia Beach. Okay, James Madison, head coach, is amazing. Yeah, he put 70 points on the scoreboard against North Carolina. North Carolina has some NIL money. Yeah, and they have the logo. Not Jerry West logo, but the Air Jordan logo. You don't know that. You're living under a rock. But guys, it's been a great show. I have another show at 9. It's the West Virginia Mountaineer Mafia. We're going to continue this conversation, but I get really goofy then. You think this show is a hot mess? Tune into the Mountaineer Mafia. I'll tell you what I really think. I have to church it up a little bit. The only thing I don't do is put on sunglasses like Golden Blue Dude and pace around. But I come damn close. So yeah, that's West Virginia Mountaineer Mafia. You can catch me on YouTube. I think the logo for that one is a dumpster fire for that thumbnail. So if you see a thumbnail of the dumpster fire, that's what I'm going to go off on a rant. If the Mountaineers lose next week, the rails are going to come off. People are going to be losing their minds. Okay? Brad Smith on the voice of, Brad Smith's already, talking about coaches that he wants to come on board to be the next head coach for the Mountaineers. To Neil Brown's defense, he has a hell of a bunch of quality recruits coming in the transfer portal, hopefully, and it'd be a shame. I would love to see him win out, make it to the Big 12 championship game. West Virginia still has that possibility, so there's still hope. I'm like that guy in Dumb and Dumber. So you say there's still a chance, right? But with that, let's see if any other comments before well, thank you. WVN 30. See you then. 9:00, guys. So I will we're gonna wrap the show up here with my outro. Joey made me a nice little outro. We're gonna play that, and I'll catch you on the next show. See you there.
I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town. What the hell's wrong with me? I don't get along with anybody, honestly. I've been living in my own head, constantly thoughts jumbled around, think I need a new lobotomy. Wait, all these thoughts are too negative. I don't wanna get lost in the sedative. Gotta show them what I got, I'm competitive. You know I'm about to go off, I won't let them win, I'll take a stab. I wanna chase the bag, I wanna weigh, I can change all the things I lack. I gotta face the facts, I gotta taste in that. Got me obsessed with the rest, I got an itch to scratch. I'll give up everything. If I could see my dreams, I'll make things right. 'Cause I'll do
just wanna escape my pain. I just wanna be a better person. I deserve this, I just wanna break these chains. Always destined for greatness, true to myself, I never fake it. Seen too many once that I so they get famous. And when I say the truth, most really can't take it. In spite of everything I've been through, I'ma make it. Fake friends, but on my downfall is toxic. Day one, started the outlaws for profit. Now all I do is write verses, no talking. All I do is put the work in, no option. This was everything I ever wanted. Created a legacy off of me just being honest. And the fake ones hate, but it's all to no avail. They wanna see me lose, but you know I never fail.